great friendships that he had with Saul's son, Jonathan. And David is looking to do something kind if he can find any of his relatives, albeit how distant they may be. So when they find Saul's son, called Mephibosheth, and Mephibosheth, as a baby, the nurse that was carrying him, they were at odds with the Amorites. And as they came upon their camp, the woman naturally began to flee to a place of safety, and in so doing, she dropped the infant baby, Mephibosheth, and the baby's feet was lame from that point on. And Saul being dead and Jonathan being dead, a wealthy landowner, Machir, the son of Amiel, had taken him in and allowed him to be on his property. I guess they took care of it. It was a thing in Hebrew culture where you took care of the widows, the lame, and the halt, and so forth and so on. And so, but he was not a full privileged person there. And the story, as wonderful as it is, David redeems him, brings him back, and tells him that you're going to eat at my table continually, at the king's table. So he went from probably eating from pie pan up with the low slaves to eating at the king's table with one decree from the king. And his reply to David is quite interesting. He says he bowed himself and says, "What is thy servant?" Or in our vernacular, he's saying, "Who am I that I should visit?" Very interesting that you should look on such a dead dog as that. Now, him being the son of Jonathan and them having an oral tradition, I know that he heard the other slaves and even the masters and all the people, the midwives, and the butlers, making mention of his grandfather Saul. And he also heard them make mention of his father Jonathan, who was a great and mighty warrior and had a covenant relationship with the king. And their relationship was probably as tight as friends could get. It was so tight, as a matter of fact, when David got the news that Saul and Jonathan had been killed, at their mourning period for Saul and Jonathan, David wrote one of the most beautiful songs that I've ever heard. He said, "Oh, how the mighty have fallen in battle." Speaking of Saul and Jonathan. He said they were swifter than eagles and mightier than lions. Oh, that we not publish their death to the Philistines, that they might make a mockery of our king. And so Mephibosheth had obviously heard about his father and his grandfather and the king's relationship with the both of them. But he had been in a place of servitude. He was lame.